So this week we're back in the workshop and we're going to be looking at this Makita briefcase or power tool case. This case comes with quite a few of the Makita Combi kits, so I think a lot of Makita users will be familiar with this box. Typically it's more cost effective to buy a kit with an impactor and a combi drill and some batteries and a charger than it is to actually buy the batteries loose. So lots of guys get this case and just have it, hanging around and no real use for it, and particularly because it's got these kind of plastic ribs inside that limit what it can be used for. We don't sell an insert that goes into this case, but we're going to show you how to buy a blank sheet from our website or buy a custom size, and then how to create a template so you can make your own insert. So the first thing to do is to get our multi-tool out the power tool wall. Right, so that was pretty quick, to be honest. Didn't take long, and we've cut out all of these little rib sections here, and they do really make it awkward to use these cases. I think with these in there, you do get a little bit of a tougher case, but the compromise is you can hardly fit anything in it. So we've cut the guts out. When we put the shadow foam insert in there, we can actually spray glue it in, which will give the case more strength anyway. And to be honest, that's still pretty good. I thought it would be a little bit more wobbly than that, but we've cut the guts out there. And then it's still a nice sturdy case because you've got like a lip on the top section here which holds it all square anyway. So I don't necessarily think those were definitely needed for the strength of it. And obviously if we spray glue in an insert, we'll have the added strength anyway. So next thing to do is to map out the shape of this insert, and then we can cut some foam for it. To figure out the layout for it, all we need to do is we're going to use piece of paper. And what you kind of want to do is just fill up the bottom of the case, and obviously where we've got a nice straight edge, we can just put the paper straight up to it. Across the front here, we've also got a nice straight edge. Across there, we've got a nice straight edge, and we just want to tape them together. So here I can see I want to just kind of cut in there nicely, a little bit about there. So we're just cutting a little strip that can just slot in that little gap there, and we want it a little bit thinner. There we go, perfect. And we can just tape that in place. And then we move on to now we've got the next straight edge. So now we just want a little piece of straight paper. A little bit shorter. We can then go along the next straight edge. Okay, so you can see there now we've got the full paper template, and we've only missed out the two corners, but we've got a nice flat white piece of paper line going up to the corners. And then for the corners, we can use our radius gauge. So we sell these on our website, and we have, they come in a set of 3. Now for this, we're going to use the bigger size because we can see that the radius is one of these bigger circle sizes. So what we'll do now is we'll take this out, we'll lay it on a piece of blank shadow foam, we'll cut round it, but on the corners we'll cut square. And then once we've got the insert fully cut out, we'll then use the 46 millimeter diameter circle to then just trim the corners in, and then we'll have a perfectly fitting insert. Okay, so we've got a piece of our 50mm teal foam. This is our new colour. And obviously we don't sell this in standard sheets, so the only way to get this would be to go on our custom foam page on shadowfoam.com, go on custom foam and you'll be able to find this. We have it in 30mm and 50mm. So what we're going to do here as well, we're going to use a little bit of tape. We're going to line that square edge up with the top and just tape it on. And we're going to do the same on the right. So we've got the top square edge and the right square edge, and we'll line them up. And this same technique would work if you've got something a bit more of a tricky. This is quite a simple profile, to be honest, compared to some of these power tool cases. It can get quite complicated, but the same technique would work with all of them. And you're ending up with like a paper. It's a little bit of paper crafts to get there, but it is a way to get a nice simple layout without any complex tools. So now what we do is just follow the template around. Once we've cut all around it, we can take that away. We'll just save that in case we need it again. Now we just want to follow that cut that we've made all the way around and just slowly work our way through the foam. The first cut though, you don't want to rush it. You want to go nice and slow and just make sure that you're following that initial cut really accurately and making it deeper. When you've only made such a shallow cut, the knife will have a tendency to stray off out of the line you've made. So once we've cut our shape out, the other thing we need to consider is that we do have a slight radius on the bottom of the case, just on this front edge. So we've got a square corner all the way around, but then at the front here we've got a square edge, so we're just going to cut that off as well, just while we're working on the front of the case here. So all we need to do with that is just make an angle cut. We don't have to worry about getting it round. We'll just make an angled cut across the front, just to make sure that the case sits. The insert sits nice and square in the bottom of the case and it's not being kind of held up. So once we've done that, the last thing to do is just that radius that I spoke about. So this back corner here, we said it was a 46mm radius, so we just want to hold the circle, and it's basic. What we're looking to do is line up the top of the circle with one edge and then the side of the circle with the other edge, and then just follow that around and just using it as a little guide to get that corner. We'll do the same over this side. Again, lining up the top and the side. And then we just follow that cut down. I'm also going to put a little relief cut on all of the edges, because although they don't have a tight radius, they do have a small bend around the corner. The way that this case looks like it's been made, in order for it to release from the mould, it's got a slight corner, but nothing compared to the front. There's like a full slope at the front of the case. We'll just nip that edge off. And then now we can do a test fit and see what we're looking like. And that is ideal, that's perfect. I'm really happy with that, it slots in. We've not got it hard up to the edges here, but that allows us to be able to take it out. But we've got it nice and tight on the back and the sides there, so we can use a little bit of glue to hold it in if we want to. But that is perfect. The next step is we're going to figure out the layout of all the tools. But we do have to take into consideration this here. This like little tray in the lid kind of intrudes on the space that you have inside the case here. So when we're putting items that are going to be quite tall, standing quite proud, we're going to want to make sure we're keeping them over to the right to allow us to fit everything in without and maintain the lid closing. But we probably could cut these ribs off the lid too if they are going to encroach on our layout. But we'll figure out what we can fit in the toolbox first, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we've come up with a layout for this case that is what I would say a more typical use for it, or maybe less than typical use actually, because it comes as a combi drill set, so an impact driver and a combi drill, and then a couple of batteries and a charger. Now, for me using this case, I would have all my batteries separate. I don't really want them all spread about across all my cases, because then you're not going to know what's charged. I don't really want a charger in every box either, because I've got a dual charger, we use that. Or I'd have it separate with the batteries. So for me, I organise my tools by kind of category, so I'd have the drills, you know, the more commonly used stuff together. But then this case I thought would be quite clever, or be quite a good use for it, would be the tools that it's good to have on you and you use them out and about, but you don't use them as much. So we've got something like a multi-tool, we've got an angle drill, palm sander and the palm router, which are all part of the Makita 18-volt LXT range, and they fit in this case perfectly. So we can fit all 4 of those in there, and we've also got a little bit of space for some accessories too that we could probably add in the future. But that is a really great example of how you can take a case that came for free with a combi drill set and repurpose it for something that's actually going to be quite a nice addition to a van. You can slot that somewhere, and you know you've got these tools on you, really well protected and safe and looked after. And you're going to know exactly where they are. So let's start cutting. Right, so that's the liner done, and it looks pretty good. I think we've got a really nice gap around all of the tools. And I do love that contrast. I think that contrast's fantastic, and the colour match is really good as well. I mean, we're not bang on Makita teal, we're a little shade darker, but it really does complement the teal of the Makita teal really well. And that insert, that liner there, fits perfectly. So that took no more than about 10-15 minutes. That was quite quick. I mean, obviously I've done a lot of these liners, but it's a simple case, laying out, cutting around the items, peeling back the foam, and you're off. And I will just drop the tools in. And the one thing I did have to do is I put the sander in, but the deepest element of it, which is this spinning disc, I put that at the top of the case so it kind of aligns with this little cutout section here to make sure the lid closes. We've still got some space left. I could probably add, you know, the router bits. There's a few little accessories that go with this palm router, which we could include in here. I don't have the other heads anyway, but there are a couple. I mean, some router bits would be good, and a little spanner that goes with it I can put in there. A few little multi-tool heads would be cool, and obviously the angle drill, something that has been handy a few times, but I don't use it very often, so it's the perfect spot for it in a little case like this that can just go in the back of the van. So that is how you make an insert for a case that we don't have a dedicated insert for. It just shows that kind of these cases that you get free, they kind of usually bundled in or chucked in. And I mean, each brand has a similar approach really. They have like injection molded cases, and usually these tools get transferred into another, like a Mac pack or modular system. But obviously with a little bit of adaptation, you can get, you can give these cases a second life. So I'm really happy with that. We've also got a plan to turn this case into the ultimate battery box, but we'd love to hear your ideas. We'd love to hear what you think we could do with this. And if you like this video, be sure to subscribe and like the video. We've been getting loads of support recently, and we're really happy to see the channel growing, and your help is what is making it happen. So thanks again everybody, and we'll see you next time.